A crowded room. 100 voices at once. Music, laughter, glasses, a wall of noise so thick you shouldn't be able to hear anything. And yet, you're following one voice, perfectly, one person in all of that. Now someone across the room says your name, and your head turns. Before you decide to turn it, stay with me, because that small, ordinary moment, you turning your head, means your brain was doing something you were never told about, something it does every second you're awake, something a little unsettling. Think about what just happened. A room full of overlapping sound, dozens of conversations, all of them hitting your ears at the exact same time. To a microphone, that's chaos. One flat wall of noise. Engineers have a name for the problem of pulling one voice out of that wall. They call it the cocktail party problem. And for decades, machines were terrible at it. But you do it without trying. You lock onto one voice and let the rest blur into background. You've done it your whole life. You did it today. And here's the strange part. Nobody taught you how. There's no lesson for this. No one sits a child down and explains how to filter a crowd. You just could. So the question is simple. How? How does the brain reach into a storm of sound and pull out a single thread and hold it? A man in the 1950s decided to find out. And what he discovered didn't just answer the question. It opened a much darker one. His name was Colin Cherry, a scientist studying how we listen. In 1953, he ran an experiment that sounds almost cruel. He put headphones on people, and into one ear, he played a voice. Into the other ear, a completely different voice. 2 messages at once, one in each ear. Then he gave them a task. Repeat one voice out loud, word for word, as you hear it. Ignore the other completely. It's called shadowing, and it's exhausting. People could do it. They locked onto the one voice. They repeated it. They ignored the other ear. Then Cherry checked what they'd absorbed from the ignored ear. And this is where it gets strange. They had almost nothing. They couldn't say what the ignored voice talked about. Not the topic, not the words, not the meaning. It was gone. Cherry switched the ignored voice into a different language partway through. People didn't notice. He played it backwards. Most didn't notice that either. To the part of your mind that listens, the ignored voice barely existed. So that seemed to settle it. You pick one stream. The rest gets shut out. A door closes. Except, there was one thing that could get through that closed door. Every single time. And once Cherry found it, the whole picture changed. What could slip past the filter? Your name. Later researchers pushed Cherry's work further. They played the ignored voice, the one you're not listening to, and quietly, they dropped your name into it. And about 1/3 of people snapped toward it. The name reached in from the ear they were ignoring and grabbed their attention. Think about what that requires. For your name to catch you, some part of your brain had to be listening to the ignored voice the whole time, listening to the thing you were sure you'd shut out, scanning it, checking every word, waiting. That's the effect. Named after that crowded room. The cocktail party effect. You are never really not listening. You think you close a door on the noise. You don't. You turn it down. But something behind the door keeps its eyes open, reading every name that passes. And when it sees yours, it interrupts you. So now the question isn't how do you focus? The question is darker. If part of your mind is always monitoring the sounds you ignore, what else is it catching? What else gets through? Because it isn't only your name. For years, scientists argued about how this works. One early idea was simple. The brain has a filter, an early gate. One stream gets in, the rest is blocked before it means anything. Clean, tidy, but the name broke it. If everything is blocked early, your name in the ignored ear should mean nothing, yet it stops you cold. So another scientist, Treisman, offered a better answer. The filter doesn't block. It attenuates. It turns the volume down, but never all the way off. Everything is still getting through, quietly, in the background, being checked against the things that matter to you. Most of it dissolves. It's turned down so low it never reaches you. But some words have a lower bar. Words your brain has decided are important. Your name, a warning, danger, the word fire. Those get through even at a whisper, even from the stream you swear you're ignoring. So picture what's actually happening in that crowded room. Every conversation you're not listening to. You're listening to all of them, a little, in the dark, scanning for anything that matters. You are running a background process you can't turn off and were never aware of, and it raises something uncomfortable. Because if this filter can be tuned, if certain words slip through and others don't, then what you notice in a room is being decided for you, before you ever get a say, which means the filter can be aimed. If your brain scans for words that matter, what happens when someone knows which words those are? Marketers know. Advertising is built on planting words your filter is tuned to catch. Your fears, your name, urgency, reward. Words designed to slip past the gate while you think you're ignoring the ad. You're not really ignoring it. Something behind the door is reading it. And there's a stranger edge to this. The same system that saves you can trap you. Imagine you can't stop hearing. For some people, the filter doesn't turn the volume down enough. Every voice in the room arrives at full strength, no background, no blur. Just a wall of equally loud sound with no way in. A crowded room becomes unbearable, not because it's loud, but because nothing can be ignored. Lamsianand. That's a glimpse of what your filter spares you from every single day. The gift isn't that you can hear. The gift is that you cannot hear. That you can push 100 voices into the dark and keep one. And still, even then, the dark is never silent. Something back there is always listening, always scanning, waiting for the one word that belongs to you. Which brings us to the part that's easy to miss. The scariest thing about this isn't that your brain listens without you. It's how good it is at hiding that it does. You don't feel the filtering. That's the trick. You feel like you simply heard your friend and the rest was just quiet. But it was never quiet. It was loud. Your brain built the quiet for you. It processed the entire room, decided what didn't matter, turned it down, and handed you a clean, simple experience of, I heard one person. You got the finished result. You never saw the work. And this is true of almost everything you experience. The world arrives as chaos. Too much, all at once. And a hidden part of you edits it down into something you can live inside. You think you're seeing the room. You're seeing the edit. The cocktail party effect is just the one moment where the edit slips, where your name breaks through, and for half a second, you feel the machine that was running the whole time. You turn your head, and you never ask why, but now you know why. There was a listener behind the door. There always is. So here's the one thing to carry out of this room. You are not hearing the world. You are hearing what a silent part of you decided to let through. Every crowd you've ever stood in, something inside you was reading every voice, turning almost all of them down, and waiting for the word that matters, your name in the dark. You were never really not listening. You just weren't the one doing it.